guys. I hope you're all well. So yeah, I've had a love of D&D for well just over 40 years now, which is crazy to think. And obviously buying well anything to do with Dungeons and Dragons is pretty cool. Especially this little set, 'cause it looks quite like the original one I played back in the early 80s. But obviously my sort of favourite style is the old dungeon crawlers, and that's why recently, a good few months ago, I made this little sort of scene diorama of my little adventurer there, sort of just going into his first dungeon. And dungeons, well, they wouldn't be dungeons without obviously mobs, monsters, and things that go bump in the night. And one of my favourite ones is this, the Beholder, kind of like a floating meatball with obviously Medusa sort of style hair. So very creepy. Does psych damage, which a lot of our heroes can't defend against. So yeah, I wanted to make another little diorama of that chap that you just saw, but further down the dungeon. And yeah, coming across this. So using the Halo X1, awesome printer I've been using for a good year now. So easy to use. This is why I love this printer. In the case of popping things on a USB, put the USB in the machine, push a couple of buttons, away she goes. And obviously, yeah, this one is a bit different to a lot of printers because the VAT plate comes up rather than the build plate going down, which is pretty cool. It obviously is to help with the release of the build plate, so you don't get any failures from printing, which is pretty cool. And obviously, the other thing I love about the Halo X1, and that's the good old flappy paddles. So this basically means no more scraping miniatures off the build plate. All I need to do is give the little side bits a bit of a wiggle, and it pushes everything off, which, as you can see, is a treat. No more scraping. So these bits, yeah, just need a little bit of a clean, and then wash and clean and all that, and then they're ready to use. So I printed out a few little bits and pieces here. I will leave links down below to where I got these things from. So the miniature, yeah, he is obviously very mini, but again, the Halo X1 is awesome for printing things out, well, whatever sort of scale I need, really, which is just great because, well, it means I can make miniatures or, well, big miniatures. And yet, frames, you'll have seen me use the frames quite a bit before. Again, these are just something I love because they're sort of space saving, as I can either have this sitting on my desk in the frame, or I could have it on the wall, which is what I'm probably going to be doing soon because I'm making quite a few of these framed little dioramas. And also, it does mean that I can't go too mad on building something too big, which is good because I do get carried away sometimes. With most of my projects, I have a rough idea of what I'm going to do, but then I kind of wing it. Just like when I'm voicing over these videos, yeah, everything's winging it. I don't really write things down. I just have a rough idea of what I'm doing and what I'm going to say. And then, yeah, I just get on and have a bit of fun. So, yeah, it's a case of obviously not everything I use is 3D printed. Sometimes I do mess about with sort of styrofoam, or in this case, I'm not sure what this material is. I know you can carve into it really well. It breaks up great. And yeah, it's relatively cheap. It's from Green Stuff World. I do have a link down below to everything I use sort of from them. But there we go. I've got my two pillars, one nice and broken and one not. And it is a case of building up the bottom. So I kind of want him, say, I do like the dungeon crawlers. So for me, it's almost like about you complete a dungeon, then you find some stairs, you go down to the next level, and then obviously the mobs and everything else gets a bit harder and harder until you obviously meet the final end boss. So yeah, having stairs going down, it's pretty cool in this instance. So it just makes me think of, well, he's delving deeper into the dungeon where things are definitely going to get scarier. So as it is obviously a dungeon, yeah, we do need to sort of make it a bit more cavernous looking. So for the ceiling, yeah, just adding more and more of these sort of bits to sort of pack it out. And eventually I will be using my good old favourite material, and that's grout. I love this stuff. It's nice and cheap. It's great for filling in gaps and holes, and obviously making texture. But as well as that, I've got these. I mean, I've had some materials I bought years and years ago. They sit in drawers, and I kind of forget about them. So I've got these like wood bark chip bits, I guess. I'm not even too sure what they are really, or why I even bought them in the first place. But this is where I say I love some of the drawers I've got. I've got stuff in there I bought years ago, thinking, yeah, I've got a use for that. Then whenever I was building, went a different direction. So yeah, I have stuff I've used or not used in drawers for years. So you can see, yeah, the grout. I do need to buy some more because, well, I love this stuff. It is just so easy to use. Hey, it's really cheap, great for filling in gaps, and obviously just making textures for any kind of dioramas or boards. This isn't quite the right tool for the job, and I do have better sort of modeling tools, but sometimes it's just a case of I use what's to hand or sitting around my desk. So yeah, that's why I was using a different sort of tool to well scoop out all that grout. So yeah, it's a case of I want to make this say not some nice texture inside this cave, and that's why I thought these bark bits. Well, that'd be a good sort of start for random texture, because sometimes it is too easy to make the texture look a bit too sort of uniformed. Um, whereas these bits of bark, yeah, these are going to make it a little bit more random. And then just for the little gaps in between, I'm going to put some good old stones, and then I do go over the whole lot with some fine sand. Again, just to give it that bit more texture. So fill in a few gaps down the bottom. 'Cause I want to make these kind of columns look as though they are coming out from well, from stone that was being sort of chipped away. And I say, obviously, these stairs going down, I kind of want them again to look like they were sort of part of the cave that's just been, yeah, chipped away. And there we go. That's pretty much the sort of basic of the diorama looking. Now just to put the hero and the evil creature. And as this thing is going to be floating, put like a flat sort of bit on him at the back there, just so then he'll stick to the wall a lot easier. And I say he's going to be like a floating head. Say I'm really pleased with how this chap's come out because he is very diddy. Well, as you can see, he's at the sort of the height of my thumb, which is pretty cool. So there we go. Everything's in place. Yeah, this is one where I am going to paint everything in place, um, just because I want to sort of give it some shadow. So any areas that I can't get to are going to be darker, which is going to be pretty cool. So yeah, so it just makes sense to sort of put it all together in one, and then paint it as one. So usual kind of thing, really. I primed everything in a good matte black. Now I'm going to go around and do a bit of dry brushing. Uh, but again, I want to make it look like, 'cause obviously this guy's holding a candle. So I really want to kind of have it so it is the candle that's really lighting areas up. So definitely concentrating more of the dry brushing to around obviously the front of this diorama and where he is, just so then the back bits are going to stay nice and dark. So hopefully give it that sort of bit of a more of an eerie kind of feeling. I say this little guy, he's delving deeper into the dungeons, fully unaware there's something big and bad lurking behind him, which is pretty cool. So when painting dioramas or something that's sort of a larger area, it certainly is good having these Green Stuff World dipping inks, these larger bottles, because these are well, they're 60 milliliters. So they're nice and big, which means I don't mind using a lot of this stuff on, say, backgrounds and areas that, well, I am going to be using a lot more paint. Again, guys, don't forget to check out all the links down below. Some of the links are affiliate links, and some are just, well, they're just links to everything I use. But yeah, if you're interested in 3D printing, definitely go and check out the Halo X1. So I've had this printer now nearly a year or maybe a year. This is where sometimes I think time just flies by. But yeah, an awesome little printer. And say I have printed out some large miniatures on this. But as you can see, yeah, it's perfectly capable of printing out nice, small little miniatures with, well, plenty of detail. And yeah, just a great printer to have. So keeping the colours of this, obviously it is meant to be a cave, a dungeon. So yeah, I've got my few sort of favourite go-to ones, and definitely using this sort of like the green stone dip is really nice because it makes things look a little bit sort of damp looking, and yeah, just a really good colour. So brushes, yeah, I'm not very good at keeping my brushes clean, tidy, all the rest of it, but I do buy cheap brushes. So this is where I don't mind sort of them getting cream crackered because I'll just go and spend another sort of £4 or £5 and get a ton more brushes. So these, I haven't got a link for these, but I believe I got these off Temu. Yeah, because so they are cheap brushes, but they work really, really well. Typically, my brushes maybe last about 6 months to a year. As I say, I'm not very good at taking care of them, as in I barely wash them or properly clean them. When I'm using them, I kind of, well, like a lot of people, brushes go in my mouth to try and get them nice and fine. And then I got like wet wipes and sort of stuff that I use just to give them a bit of a clean after each use. So yeah, they tend not to last too long, I guess. But obviously, speed paints. Yeah, we all know this is this has been a game changer for me when it comes to painting because these paints really do well. They do all the work. They give you that nice sort of contrast. where they kind of flow really well into the nooks and crannies, give you a nice sort of dark recessed areas, but then nice and light on any sort of raised flat areas, which is pretty cool. So yeah, using a couple of purples on this beholder, just to add a bit of variation in how he looks. Although you will see a bit later on, I do go over the whole thing with a wash. Again, I love using washes and using washes over the sort of speed paint contrast paints, just to give them, well, even more contrast and variety. Especially when I use sort of two different colours or variety of different colours on one sort of miniature. I do sometimes feel that the colours, well, they don't look like they're connected, don't look like they're tied in very well. So that's when, yeah, a good old wash over the top. So painting the little chap, obviously, yeah, it's not going to take a lot of paint to cover him. So I must admit, this is where sometimes I waste a lot of paint here actually, because I still sort of drop enough paint into this little paint palette thingy to paint like a larger miniature, whereas literally one little drop would be definitely be enough for him. But yeah, love how he's come out, guys. If you play D&D or HeroQuest or Kill Team or any of those kind of things, if you want to see me paint anything, by all means, let me know in the comments. As well, I like variety, which I'm sure you'll have seen on this channel. I do paint a whole variety of different kind of miniatures from fantasy and sci-fi. So yeah, let me know if there's anything you want to see me paint. And obviously, I do love turning, well, miniatures and things into these little dioramas as a nice way of, well, sort of capturing a scene, which is pretty cool. So again, any sort of thing you want to see me make there, yeah, let me know in the comments. So as always, whenever I do skin, yeah, rather than using the speed paints, 'cause I sometimes find them a little bit dark or dirty. I like to paint the miniatures with a nice sort of skin tone color, and then do a wash over the top, just to again add a bit of contrast in. But yeah, love how this little thing's coming along. Didn't take too long at all. Obviously, it's quite a small little scene. So yeah, again, guys, let me know if there's something you want to see me make, because I have a lot of ideas of what I want to do, but sometimes it is nice hearing from you guys because it might be something that I've not heard of before, or sometimes I see it as a bit of a challenge. If there's something you want to see me make or paint, yeah, I can take that as a little challenge and, well, run with it really. So yeah, this guy pretty much done. So this is where the beholder, I kind of felt some of the colours weren't quite connected. So I'm going to go over a red wash, and as you can see, yeah, whenever I say this, I don't really do washes. I do baths. Yeah, I do put a lot of a lot of wash on, but it's just how I like it. Again, this is where painting is definitely in the, well, the eye of the beholder. And we all have different painting styles and different sort of likes on how we want something to look. With me, yeah, it's definitely lots of contrast, lots of yeah, it's kind of like grimdark, I guess. I like things to look a little bit sort of worn. And talking of worn, yeah, I kind of felt this looked, or the scene looked a little bit too bright, especially as obviously I really wanted to do so it's just his candle that's lighting the area up. So I'm going to use a bit of a black wash here. This is one episode just made up. There's black ink in this. I think it's like almost half and half, maybe a bit more water than the ink, and then a little drop of washing up liquid, just to sort of break the tension up in the flow, I believe. So yeah, putting this on again, I want to make it look like the light is coming from just his little candle. So I'm going to try and make it into, well, a sort of a roundish dark area. So just go around the outer edges, putting loads on, but then trying to spread it out and then sort of sponge it down just to sort of break it up and make it look a bit softer. As blending paints is still something I'm not really very good at, which is kind of why obviously I do rely a whole lot on speed paints rather than me using, like, say, a variety of different greens to paint, say, an orc skin. Yeah, blending paints into each other or feathering them, I think it's probably a better term. Yeah, still something I'm not all that good at. So yeah, definitely looking a little bit darker around the outer edge. So the last couple of little bits to really sort of do on this guy, I think his teeth obviously have gone sort of too reddish. So I'm just going to add a little bit of white. Again, trying to then feather it in, put a little bit on, and then use a bit of a dry brush to sort of blend it and sort of, yeah, soften it looking. And then, yeah, obviously he's got his candle. So we're going to try and get some of that candle look or torch look. It's not really a candle, is it? I guess some of his torch sort of yeah, the light just making again edges nearer him look a little bit softer, a little bit warmer with the glow of his torch. And yeah, so I love how this little diorama's come out. As yeah, it does give me good vibes of playing D&D, and obviously yeah, being a bit of a dungeon crawler and never knowing what's round the next corner, or in this case, never knowing what's quite behind you. Yeah, this is where you will do the panto bit and shout out, "It's behind you!" Yeah, absolutely love it. Right, it's early in the morning. I'm recording this, and as always, yeah, there's no script. I'm just waffling around. That's the diorama pretty much done. Just need to put the front of the frame on, obviously 3D printed, primed in black, and now going to use this dark star bronze. I want to leave links down to this, guys. This is a new sort of paint I've been sent to try out. They do a big range of metallic colors. So yeah, keep an eye out for me using more of this Dark Star paints, and I'll let you know, well, how I get on with it. So I'm going to do some dry brushing on the frame because I kind of want to make it look like it is like an old kind of, yeah, an aged looking frame. So that's why, again, priming it in black and then doing this is a pretty cool thing to do. It makes it look like it is, say, aged and kind of like worn as well. And there we go, one little D&D diorama complete. And again, like another little adventure for my, well, my little adventurer there. So yeah, love how he's come out. I could almost feel like I want to do a little mini series showing this guy, and then obviously him unaware completely of what's going on behind. So this was the original one I did some time ago, I think about 8 months or more ago. Love how that came out because that was 3D printed in one go, which was pretty cool. But yeah, big shout out and thank you to all my patrons who really do sort of help support this channel as I do this full time, which is pretty cool. So they certainly help. I will be posting more there now this year, obviously as a give back to all those lovely people. Okay, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, leave comments, all that good stuff. I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.